She shouted across the cafeteria, "Your daughter started it." As my 8-year-old, Lily, sat trembling on the floor, clutching her arm. Everyone froze, even the lunch lady stopped mid-scoop. The man who had just shoved her wasn't another kid, he was the HOA president's husband, Mr. Collins, a tall, red-faced bully who thought the whole neighborhood was his property. I rushed over, my heart pounding. "You touched my daughter," I said through clenched teeth. His face twisted. "Your kid disrespected my wife. Maybe now she'll learn some manners." The whole cafeteria gasped. My hands shook, but I didn't raise my voice. I just said quietly, "You shouldn't have done that, not to my daughter." Karen, his wife, stormed in, waving her phone. "He's threatening us. I'm calling the police." She screamed loud enough for the entire school to hear. She pushed past the teachers like she owned the place. The crowd started recording, whispers spread fast. I stayed calm, but my mind was racing. This wasn't the first time she'd pulled something like this. Last week she put a fake HOA violation on my door saying my daughter's chalk art was vandalism. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Mr. Collins smirked, thinking he'd already won. But what he didn't know, what nobody knew, was that I had the entire incident caught on the school's security feed. And when those officers arrived, it wasn't going to go how Karen planned. "You hit the wrong man's child," I whispered, pulling my phone from my pocket. "And this time, everyone's going to see who you really are." Viral line: "You hit the wrong man's child." The police burst through the cafeteria doors, lights flashing through the windows like we were in some kind of crime show. Karen ran straight to them, pointing at me. "That's him. He threatened my husband and attacked our HOA board," she yelled, voice shaking with fake tears. The officers rushed toward me, hands on their belts, eyes narrowed. Lily clung to my leg, whispering, "Daddy, I didn't do anything." I raised both hands calmly. "You might want to check the cameras before you believe anything she says," I said. Karen's face dropped for a split second before she forced a smile. "Cameras? There are no cameras here," she snapped, but her voice cracked. The school principal hurried in, breathing hard. "Actually, we do have cameras. New system was installed last month." Every head turned. Karen froze, her hand still mid-gesture. Her husband tried to interrupt, "This is harassment. He's lying." But the officer held up a hand. "We'll see the footage." Minutes later, in the security room, silence filled the air. On the screen, there was Mr. Collins, towering over Lily, grabbing her arm, and shoving her back. The video even caught Karen yelling from the doorway, "Teach her a lesson." The officer's jaw clenched. "That enough proof for you?" I asked quietly. Karen's mouth fell open. "No, that's edited. It's fake," she stammered, but no one believed her now. The officer turned to me. "Sir, we're going to need you to come down to the station just to file a report, and we'll be taking their statements too." Mr. Collins looked pale, his earlier arrogance gone. "You can't do this. I'm on the HOA board," he shouted. The officer didn't even look at him. "Then you should know better than to assault a child." As they led him out, the entire cafeteria clapped. Parents, teachers, even kids were whispering, "Did you see that?" Karen finally got caught. But I didn't smile. I knew her. This wasn't over. She'd come back harder, and she'd make sure to twist this into something bigger. I glanced down at Lily, brushing a tear from her cheek. "We're okay," I whispered. But deep inside, I felt that uneasy burn. Karen had power in this town. And she wasn't the kind to go down quietly. Viral line: "Then you should know better than to assault a child." By the next morning, my front yard looked like a war zone of printed flyers and angry messages. Someone had taped fake HOA disciplinary notices all over my fence, each stamped with "Child Endangerment Investigation Pending." My stomach tightened as I picked one up. It had my full name, address, and even my daughter's school written on it. Karen had moved fast. She wanted everyone in the neighborhood to think I was the problem. Lily peeked through the window, scared. "Daddy, are we in trouble?" she asked softly. I forced a smile. "No, sweetheart. They just don't know the truth yet." But inside, I was boiling. Karen's game had gone too far. She was calling every neighbor, telling them I attacked her husband and faked the video. By noon, people were avoiding eye contact, whispering when I passed by. Around 3 p.m., I got an email from the HOA office, Subject line: immediate hearing notice, property violation and threat report. The meeting was mandatory. No surprise, Karen had arranged it. I showed up at the community hall that evening. Karen sat at the head of the table in her blazer like some self-appointed judge. Her husband had a bandage on his forehead now, fake, obviously, and a smug grin plastered on his face. Before I could even sit, Karen started. "Mr. Ray," she said with a false smile, "after reviewing your recent behavior and the violence at our community school, the board has voted to suspend your HOA membership and recommend eviction proceedings." Gasps echoed around the room. I stood still, calm but burning inside. "You can't evict someone who owns their property," I said quietly. Karen smirked. "Actually, we can if you violate community safety laws." The crowd murmured, some shocked, others unsure who to believe. I let her finish her fake speech, then placed my phone on the table and hit play. It was a recording, the same one from the security feed, but this time with audio. Karen's voice came loud and clear, "Teach her a lesson." Everyone froze. Her smile vanished. Her husband's face drained of color. "You framed me," I said, staring straight at her. "But you forgot, I record everything." The board members looked at one another, confused and uneasy. Karen tried to stand, but her legs shook. "That's illegal recording," she shouted. "Not when it's for my child's safety," I replied, voice low and steady. A few people started clapping again, quietly at first, then louder. Karen looked around, realizing her grip on this community was slipping, and for the first time, I saw something in her eyes I hadn't before: fear. Viral line: "You framed me, but you forgot, I record everything." That night, things got darker. Around 11 p.m., I heard footsteps outside, slow, deliberate, crunching over the gravel near my porch. I peeked through the blinds and saw two figures by my car, their flashlights glinting off the hood. I stepped out quietly, phone recording in my hand. "Can I help you?" I called out. The lights turned toward me, and I saw them, Karen and her husband. She smiled that same cold, fake smile. "We're just inspecting community property. You've got oil stains on your driveway, violation number 16. I took a step closer. "It's midnight," I said flatly. "You're trespassing." Her husband moved forward, puffing up his chest. "You think you can embarrass us in front of the board and get away with it? We make the rules here." I laughed under my breath. "No, you don't." Karen's tone sharpened. "You'll regret moving here, Ray. People like you never last long." Before I could reply, she snatched something from her bag, a printed notice, and slapped it onto my door. "Final warning," she hissed. "Next time, it's your property that'll pay." Then they walked off into the dark. I tore the paper down, but when I looked at it under the porch light, my blood ran cold. It wasn't a violation notice. It was a police report, already filled out with my name, accusing me of child neglect and harassment. She'd forged it. She wasn't just abusing power anymore, she was breaking the law. I called the police right away, but before I could explain, the officer on the line said, "Sir, we've already received a complaint from your HOA president. We'll be sending a unit to check on your property in the morning." I realized exactly what she was doing, setting me up. I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the window with the porch light on, watching every shadow move. Around 3 a.m., I whispered to myself, "You want to play with lies? Fine, let's play." I grabbed my laptop, opened my folder labeled Proof, and started uploading every single recording, message, and document to a secure drive shared with my attorney friend from the state bar. By dawn, Karen had no idea that the next time she tried to ruin me, she'd be walking straight into her own trap. Viral line: "You want to play with lies? Fine, let's play." By sunrise, police cars were lined up outside my house again, but this time, I was ready. Karen stood across the street in her robe, fake smiling for her neighbors like she'd already won. "There he is," she said to the officers as I stepped outside, holding Lily's hand. "He's unstable. He threatened my husband, he forged HOA documents, and now he's stalking our property." The lead officer nodded politely, but his tone was different. "Mr. Ray, do you mind if we take a look at something first?" he asked. "Not at all," I said, handing him my phone. "Everything you're looking for is right there." Karen's smile began to fade as the officer scrolled through video after video, Her husband hitting Lily, her midnight trespassing, her fake reports, her threats. Every word, every face, every lie was right there in 4K clarity. The officer's expression hardened. "Ma'am," he said, turning toward her, "I think you should come with us." Her mouth dropped open. "What? No. This is harassment. I'm the HOA president." The officer's voice was firm now. "Not anymore. You just crossed into criminal territory, falsifying police documents, trespassing, and child endangerment." Gasps rippled through the neighborhood. "Mr. Collins" tried to run toward her, but another officer stopped him. "You can't do this. We're respected people here," he shouted. I finally spoke, calm and steady. "Respect isn't something you can fake, Mr. Collins. It's something you earn." Karen screamed as they handcuffed her, "You can't ruin my life." I looked her in the eye and said softly, "You already did that yourself." The cameras from the neighbors' phones caught every second. Lily tugged at my sleeve. "Daddy, are they going away?" she asked. I knelt down, brushing her hair back. "Yeah, sweetheart. They won't hurt anyone again." She smiled for the first time in days, and I felt something lift, not victory, just peace. A week later, the HOA board announced Karen's removal. The town paper ran the headline, "HOA President arrested after caught on camera abusing power." But I didn't care about headlines. I just cared that my daughter could walk into school without fear again. As I watched her run toward the bus, I whispered, "They thought they could scare us into silence. But they forgot, truth has its own voice." Viral line. "They thought they could scare us into silence. But they forgot, truth has its own voice." The end.